Hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. The story we're focusing at this hour is the strain in ties that's coming to the fore as far as certain instances between India and Canada is concerned. There is a tit for tat that is happening between India and Canada. We had both countries expel the diplomat of the other country. Today, we had a travel advisory that came to the fore from Canada. India was not going to take this lying down. India then issued an advisory as well for its students especially that are in Canada, also Indian citizens who are traveling to Canada. What needs to be looked into is something that India spoke about. Some very, very strong words that were used by the statement that was delivered by the Ministry of External Affairs. These are politically condoned hate crimes is what New Delhi called it, which is why Indian students, Indian citizens in Canada must be careful, was the advisory that came to the fore. So what really prompted this tit for tat situation? This was because we had Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, 2 days ago, come out and blame India for the death of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Canadian citizen for them, a designated terrorist for India, and that is really where we've seen the divide of what's really happened. First, listen in to the two comments that came to the fore within 24 hours from Justin Trudeau. One was where he blamed India. Within 24 hours, we had the Canadian Prime Minister soften his stand to a certain extent, saying that all we want to do is seek more details from the Indian side.
The past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Last week at the G20, I brought them personally and directly to Prime Minister Modi in no uncertain terms. Any involvement of a foreign government in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil is an unacceptable violation of our sovereignty. It is contrary to the fundamental rules by which free, open, and democratic societies conduct themselves. In the strongest possible terms, I continue to urge the Government of India to cooperate with Canada to get to the bottom of this matter.
As I've said, India, the Government of India, needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness. We are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them, and we want to work with the Government of India to lay everything clear and to ensure that there is proper.
We need to ensure that there's a proper investigation is what the Canadian Prime Minister had to say yesterday. But who exactly is Hardeep Singh Nijjar and why is he such a controversial man? There are several cases, at least 10 of them, filed by the Punjab police and the NIA. Here, the NIA has called him a terrorist. We've seen an Interpol Red Corner notice come out as well against him. And yet we have questions that are being raised on why exactly was he killed, what exactly happened. Many believe that Justin Trudeau and his administration are doing this for political compulsions domestically. But let's take a look at this video that we've accessed here from our source within the intelligence agencies here in India. This is a video believed to be on Canadian soil. This is a video dated 2017 is what we've learned. This is Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the Canadian citizen whose death has now sparked this massive controversy between India and Canada. There you see, this is believed to be an arms training camp. An AK-47 is being brandished by Hardeep Singh Nijjar, given to understand that AK-47s are banned in Canada. So this video is wrong on multiple levels is what many within the Indian establishment believe, which is why more answers are being sought of the Trudeau administration. Now, this is something that CNN News 18 had told you many years ago. This is our coverage back from 2017 where we had shown you this exact video that is now resonating. The Indian administration taking this into account, looking into this video, now set to corner the Trudeau administration as to why exactly was this allowed. There was a training camp that was allegedly being held by Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada, something that we told you about yesterday on Nation at 5 as well. Now the Indian administration is taking up these exposés, these news breaks that have come to the fore from CNN News 18. They are now going to be the focal point of how India is going to pursue this case with the Canadian authorities. We've already seen advisory versus advisory that has taken place today, and expulsion versus expulsion that took place yesterday. When Canada decided to expel an Indian diplomat, India hit back in equal measure. Why exactly is this happening, and where is this going to lead to? Those are the questions many are asking. My colleagues Siddhant and Abhishek continue to be with us on this broadcast. They're getting us more details. Siddhant is now joining us to specifically talk about this particular 2017 video. Now, the NIA dossier, Siddhant, that the agencies have on Hardeep Singh Nijjar, it also talks about an arms training camp that allegedly was held by him in 2015 in British Columbia in Canada. Is that something that's also going to be raised by the Indian authorities with the Trudeau administration?
Well, Poonam, all this has already been conveyed to not just Canada, but other countries also, including Australia, UK, and United States of America. The difference between Canada and other countries is that all other countries have agreed to what India has said and perhaps have taken action against these separatist groups. The arrests have also been made, and in fact, UK has gone ahead by pledging £95,000 to fight with these groups. But when it comes to Canada, the government was ignorant to all the dossiers, the details of these terrorists which have been handed over to them by India. They have not acted in any of these cases, and perhaps, to the best of my knowledge, more than 8 such terrorist gangsters who have red corner notices against them are right now, freely operating and roaming in Canada and perhaps, executing criminal activities back in India. So that has been Canada's official position from a very long time. But as External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said while addressing a press conference here in National Capital maybe a month back, that ulta chor kotwal ko date. So that is what is happening with Canada now. That since it is our issue, we have been flagging it off. Now they have come up with this accusation, which has no evidence to substantiate the claims, saying that India is getting involved in the internal matters of Canada. Now the video of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, which we are playing on our screens for our viewers, is of 2017. In 2017, it was Manoj Gupta who brought us that video, and
right.
It could be seen that how Hardeep Singh Nijjar is holding AK-47, a sophisticated weapon in his hand. Now, under what freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
We'll try and reconnect that line with my colleague Siddhant there, but we have more breaking information that is now trickling in. We're given to understand that many within the intelligence agencies here in India believe that Justin Trudeau and his administration are being completely misled by their investigating agencies, by their intelligence agencies on this entire controversy and the kind of mayhem that India believes Khalistani sympathizers are unleashing on Canadian soil. The diplomatic row, remember, between India and Canada continues to brew. CNN News 18 is now getting more details of what exactly transpired. This is what we've gathered from our source within intelligence agencies here in India of what exactly is the inside story of what exactly happened the days leading up to Hardeep Nijjar's killing. What exactly led to that? Those are the details that we've accessed for you here. Let's take a look at those details very quickly before we reconnect with my colleague Siddhant getting us more details. Let's take a look at what exactly transpired as far as that day was concerned. Now, Canada's intel agency is believed to be feeding Justin Trudeau wrong information. That is what intelligence agencies here in India believe. They also claim that agents that were hired by CSIS are reportedly from Khalistani groups, and they are the ones that are peddling these lies and feeding this misinformation to the Prime Minister and his administration there. The CSIS prepares reports on information by Khalistani agents and sends them to the Prime Minister, is the belief in the intelligence agencies here in India. Khalistani sympathizers and these leaders in Trudeau's government are reportedly blackmailing Justin Trudeau. It is a minority government, remember, which is why domestic compulsions is something that often is the reason why we see Justin Trudeau behave the way he behaves, say the things he says. Another claim that intel agencies believe of what exactly led to Nijjar's death was that Trudeau was pushed into a corner on diplomatic row by these Khalistani sympathizers, by leaders within his administration, which is why we saw the kind of comments that came to the fore in the parliament by Justin Trudeau 2 days ago. CSIS is covering up any crime that is perpetrated by Khalistani groups is also what intel agencies here in India believe. Nijjar was behind a Sikh leader's murder and Canada must come clean. That's also something that Indian government is now seeking details of. Ripudman's murder angered his supporters who eventually in a revenge attack killed Nijjar. It had nothing to do with India is what Indian intelligence agencies believe. That is something that the Canadian investigation must look into is what New Delhi believes. Nijjar's murder was a result of a gang war and there's absolutely no role of the Indian government is the unequivocal message. India cannot be blamed, especially with the lack of any substantive evidence. That's really the claim, that's really the stand that the Indian government has taken. If you are making allegations, then give us those proof, only then we'll believe you. Canadians are accusing the Indian government only to make Nijjar a hero. So this is another part of the Khalistani propaganda, which is what needs to be looked into. That is something that the world needs to talk about, is what the Indian agencies believe. Now, this has triggered a massive diplomatic war between the two countries. Like I said, there has been an expulsion versus expulsion. There has been an advisory versus advisory coming in from the two sides. Where does this stop? How far are we going to go along with this? So let's take a look at what exactly intel agencies are now telling us. We're given to understand that there is a Pakistan hand in this as well. Pro-Khalistani sympathizers in these Khalistani groups are allegedly being funded by ISI agents in Vancouver, is now what we've learned from our sources within the intelligence agencies. Money reportedly is taken in the name of immigration. So this is under the garb of which they're trying to funnel money into these kind of anti-India activities. These Khalistani groups are using these funds for anti-India propaganda and they are able to flourish there in Canada because there is political patronage, is what intel agencies here in India believe. Students are reportedly used to spread this kind of propaganda, is what we've learned from our source within these agencies. We're also given to understand that it is all about the immigration issue, not so much about anything else, but in the garb of that, we're seeing these kind of allegations come to the fore from the Canadian side. Where is the proof, is what many in India are asking, is also what the Indian government is asking. If there is no proof, then how can we have the Prime Minister of a country go forward in Parliament and blame another ally country? Siddhant continues to be with us on this broadcast. Now, Siddhant, we've had the United States, the UK, Australia all come out and say that these are serious allegations. They must be looked into. There needs to be some amount of clarification that needs to come from the Canadian side. Domestically as well, leaders of opposition in Canada have questioned Justin Trudeau. Where is the proof, is what they've asked.
That's right. So as you rightly said, Poonam, there is no proof. There is no proof to substantiate the claim that has been made by the Prime Minister of a country. And that has perhaps resulted in an embarrassment for Mr. Trudeau and his entire government, because none of these G7 nations have agreed to issue joint statement with Canada against India. In fact, many of the countries like USA, UK did not even mention the name of the statement at the time of the release. So, you know, it clearly establishes that how these countries are more serious about their Indo-Pacific strategies, are more serious about India's rise in might, economic might, and you know, perhaps they see India as an alternative to counter China. But Mr. Trudeau is not just sabotaging his Indo-Pacific, his country's Indo-Pacific strategies, but also making others to do so just for domestic vote bank politics requirement. And perhaps the G7 nations have also understood it very well, and this is a reason that they have not, none of them have in fact issued any strong statement, any sort of a strong statement against India, and that has led to a huge embarrassment for Mr. Trudeau and his government. And this is the reason that, Poonam, yesterday late night there was a soundbite of Mr. Trudeau which came from UNGA, in which the tone and language was completely different, and perhaps I should say that it was diluted. Now he's talking that he's not here to provoke or escalate. So he himself has also understood that the report, or perhaps based on some sort of an intelligence gossip chit chatter, he made that commentary in the House for a few more. Not going to be that's not going to be supported or endorsed by any other country across the globe, and he has understood it very well. So as we were discussing, Poonam, Hardeep Singh Nijjar holding AK-47 in the hand with the video which was brought to us by Manoj Gupta. Now, under what freedom of speech or what freedom of conscience this particular act comes? Now, that is up to Mr. Trudeau and his government to explain. So, there are a lot of the relations were strained between India and Canada, but perhaps there was a lot of space to build the bridges, to fill the gaps. But now, after this particular decision of Mr. Trudeau, one thing has been established, that he is his ability of being a leader is also under the question. Also, two important point, Poonam, I would like to mention, he has also diluted the issue of terrorism. Now he has made a fight of our terrorists and your terrorists, and also he has given he has created a divide in his own country, because Poonam, the way we are getting reactions from pro-Indian community in Canada, and perhaps the advisory has also come from the government of India. They are in constant fear because they are under the fear of being attacked. So a Prime Minister is creating divide in his own country for a vote bank politics. The Prime Minister who is making other countries to sabotage Indo-Pacific strategies for a vote bank politics. Back to you.
Sure, Siddharth, do stay on with me, because here in India, we've seen the kind of strong reactions that are coming to the fore from across political party lines. It's not just the BJP or the government. India is standing together in one voice, speaking in one voice as far as the kind of allegations that have come to the fore from Justin Trudeau. BJP MP Jay Panda is the latest one to react. He says that Canada has on multiple occasions failed to act against these anti-India elements and must not be preaching India. Listen.
This diplomatic standoff has been triggered by Justin Trudeau for perhaps 2% of the 2% people, those who support terrorist, separatist ideology in Canada. And now it looks like that he has embarrassed himself, because he was trying to convince and lobby against India with G7 nations and the intelligence alliance partners. But it looks like that he has embarrassed himself, because none of these nations are ready to derail the Indo-Pacific strategy for the 2% of the 2% living in Canada. How do you like to react to this?
For more than 4 decades, we have had this problem where Canada has been giving shelter to terrorists who have planned attacks in India that have caused immense damage, but they have also killed hundreds of Canadians, such as in the Kanishka bombing. And yet these Khalistani separatists are allowed to hold referendums, they are allowed to hold tableaus depicting violence and assassination of an Indian Prime Minister. This is not acceptable, this is not civilized. Now, regarding this particular incident, the Indian MEA has given a very strong rebuttal on the allegations made by the Canadian Prime Minister. And not only a rebuttal, today MEA has issued a very strong travel advisory because of the real hate crimes that are happening in Canada, and because of the real threat to life of Indian citizens. And the reality is, it's not like Canada is pure as the driven snow. Canada itself has acquiesced to these kind of operations when terrorists have been taken out in other countries. Now, the point is, two can play at this game. If Canada professes to be a friendly country to India, and at the same time it is allowing these activities, and what I have suggested is, it doesn't allow a referendum on Quebec independence, but perhaps there are people in India who can facilitate that.
I mean, we're seeing a tit for tat on both sides. First on the expulsion of a diplomat, then on this advisory. Canada does it first, India reacts. I think it's unfortunate that Canada chose such a public route. If at all they have an issue, these matters should be discussed privately with a friendly government like India, and matters should be discussed behind closed doors. Going public, making a statement in Parliament and so on was very unfortunate by the Prime Minister, and having gone that far, now I think they have really jeopardized the state of a very good relationship, which was not only a secure relationship, but one where people-to-people contact was very soundly established. It's most unfortunate that Canada has behaved in this manner.
It's not just India and Canada that is watching keenly what exactly is transpiring here, but other countries, especially allied countries like Australia, United Kingdom and the United States are monitoring exactly what is transpiring. We now have US Ambassador to India reacting to this entire diplomatic controversy. Let's listen in.
On the former, I wouldn't, if the role was reversed, want Canada or India commenting on the process of my investigation. And I think when I talk about investigation, it's very, and I say I was the son of a prosecutor, it's really important for us not to prejudice a criminal investigation. I mean, I think it's a cornerstone of any judicial system, which is why I think I've said enough on this, and I'll keep it there. It is important for, should there ever be, for us to respect, by the way, the United States sovereignty of both India and Canada, and not to comment on whatever actions they decide to take. I think they both decided to take that in the national interest. That's not my place to comment. And second, to get into any further detail, which, by the way, doesn't mean that I have further detail, would just on principle prejudice potential criminals.
Thank you.
On the former, I wouldn't, if
The United States too now reacting. We've had a reaction coming to the fore from the UK and from Australia as well. Remember, these are countries that are in alliance with Canada as far as an intelligence agency sharing mechanism is concerned. That's called Five Eyes. All eyes, of course, are going to be on this diplomatic standoff between the two countries and where this is going to lead. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on Nation at 5. For now, a quick break.
Ritika,
and trying to just portray India as a killer who has gone, who has become an extrajudicial killer in a foreign land, without putting substantial evidences in the public domain.
As I've said, India, the government of India, needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness. We are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them, and we want to work with the government of India to lay everything clear and to ensure that there is proper process.
After Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, has alleged Indian agencies' role in killing of dreaded terrorist from Khalistani group, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, in Canada in earlier this year in the month of June. There has been massive diplomatic fallout between the two sides. There has been expulsion of diplomats, senior diplomats from both the sides, and now Canada has also started to advise its citizens to have some caution in particular areas while traveling to India. The latest advisory that has been updated just 2 days ago has been, for India, says that the people in Canada who are traveling to India should avoid all travel to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir due to the unpredictable security situation. There is a threat of terrorism, militancy, civil unrest and kidnapping. This advisory excludes travelling to or within the Union Territory of Ladakh, and Canada has stated the advisory for India, marking it an exercise, a high degree of caution. That caution has clearly come in the wake of allegation that Justin Trudeau has made based on certain evidences that he has only with him. He has not shared with his parliamentarian colleagues or with opposition leaders in Canada or with any of the member countries of G7 or Five Eyes with whom he has been expecting some kind of support. In fact, there has been reports that says that USA has expressed its reluctance to be siding with Canada on the issue of Canadian government's uproar on alleged role of Indian agency on the killing of that Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. Justin Trudeau has also not got enough support from Australia, US, UK or France. Australia, US and UK, they have expressed their official statement, they're expressing their deep concern over the issue, and they have broadly opinionated that the law will take its own course and the law should continue its further investigation. Justin Trudeau is yet to give any solid evidence or substantiate what allegation he has put against India, charging Indian agencies' role. And meanwhile, we have seen multiple groups in Canada, they have expressed their opinion on the issue. Canadian opposition leaders are asking for more evidences. There are MPs from Liberal Party of Justin Trudeau's party. They have expressed that okay, the law will take its own course, and they would like investigation to further go and reveal facts. But what facts, what evidence Justin Trudeau has with him on which he has raised this issue at such a high diplomatic level, that remains a mystery. We have it is unprecedented that Canadian government has expelled a senior Indian diplomat who was chief of RNW in Canada, stationed in Canada. Reciprocating the same, Indian side has also expelled a senior diplomat from Canada, and this has further nosedived the already downsliding bilateral relationship. Just a week ago, Canadian government has also put a pause on the free trade agreement that India and Canada have been negotiating. So probably Justin Trudeau already had in mind what he was going to announce a week later, and in that context, he had paused those free trade agreement with India. Also, the latest travel advisory that has been announced by the Canadian side, they have been continuously asking Canadian citizens to avoid going to places where the militancy could be a problem, security issues could be a problem. Canadian Prime Minister has also said that India needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness, and we are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. So in a way, he was trying to bring down his anger with India when he was saying that he is not trying to provoke India, just that he wants to have an investigation and cooperation from the Indian side. India has already turned the allegation as an absurd and motivated, saying, in the past also we have seen External Affairs Minister saying that there are local or domestic political compulsion that is the reason why Canadian government has been reluctant to act against these perpetrators of Khalistani terrorism in Canada, and even more, they have been at times siding along with these terrorist groups and terrorist sympathizers in Canada, and that has been a real security concern for Indian officials, Indian foreign Indian diplomats, deputed in Canada, Indian community members who have been living in Canada, the Sikh, Hindu, and other groups from India who have been living in harmony and peace in Canada for the last several decades. But in recent years, these elements, these fringe elements that Canadian government has called in the name of freedom of expression and democratic right to protest, they have tried to create a rift among the community member, and they have also raised some serious security concerns for India, for its sovereignty and territorial integrity when they tried to call for secessionist referendum and a separate Khalistani state. So probably Canadian government is trying to look away from all those point of view of India's concern and trying to just portray India as a killer who has gone who has become an extrajudicial killer in a foreign land, without putting substantial evidences in the public domain.
As I've said, India, the government of India, needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness. We are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them, and we want to work with the government of India to lay everything clear and to ensure that there is proper process.
After Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, has alleged Indian agencies' role in killing of dreaded terrorist from Khalistani group, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, in Canada in earlier this year in the month of June. There has been massive diplomatic fallout between the two sides. There has been expulsion of.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. Today is the third day of the special session of Parliament. We are having the proceedings in the new building. And since 11 a.m. this morning, the Lok Sabha is debating the Women's Reservation Bill. We've had several allegations, counter-allegations fly thick and fast from the Treasury benches and from the opposition. Many within the Congress and the opposition claiming credit for this bill, something that the BJP, even union ministers, have come out and countered. We saw that fierce face-off take place between Sonia Gandhi and Smriti Irani earlier in the day as well. Several other speakers are still expected to speak in the Lok Sabha, including Rahul Gandhi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah. But listen in to so far what has transpired in the lower house.
भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस की तरफ मैं नारी शक्ति बंधन अधिनियम 2023 के समर्थन में करी हुई हूँ। अध्यक्ष महोदय, खुद मेरी जिंदगी का यह बहुत मार्मिक क्षण है। पहली दफा स्थानीय निकायों में स्त्री की भागीदारी तय करने वाला संविधान संशोधन मेरे जीवन साथी राजीव गांधी जी ही लाए थे। उन्होंने लाए थे जो राज्यसभा में 7 वोटों से गिर गया था। बाद में प्रधानमंत्री पीवी नरसिम्हा राव जी के नेतृत्व में कांग्रेस सरकार ने ही उसे पारित कराया। कांग्रेस पार्टी इस बिल का समर्थन करती है। हमें इस बिल के पास होने से खुशी है, मगर इसके साथ साथ एक चिंता भी है। मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ। पिछले 13 वर्षों से भारतीय स्त्रियां अपनी राजनीतिक जिम्मेदारी का इंतज़ार कर रही हैं और अब उन्हें कुछ वर्ष और इंतज़ार करने के लिए कहा जा रहा है। कितने वर्ष? 2 वर्ष, 4 वर्ष, 6 वर्ष, 8 वर्ष? क्या भारत की स्त्रियों के साथ बर्ताव उचित है? भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस की मांग है कि यह बिल फौरन अमल में लाए जाए, लेकिन इसके साथ ही कास्ट सेंसस कराकर शेड्यूल ट्राइब, ओबीसीज की महिलाओं के आरक्षण की व्यवस्था की भी जाए,
जिसके लिए कि उन्होंने बड़ा अपने आप को गौरवान्वित महसूस किया कि हमने पंचायत में जो है महिला रिजर्वेशन लागू किया। बड़ा अच्छा किया। लेकिन यह आर्टिकल में 243D और 243T हमने तो नहीं दिया। आप दोनों को पढ़ लीजिए। 243D और T क्या पंचायत में किस तरह से रिजर्वेशन होगा और म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन में किस तरह से रिजर्वेशन होगा। आपने उसके लिए कभी ओबीसी की बात तो नहीं की। क्या आप चाहते हैं कि महिलाओं को रिजर्वेशन नहीं दें? और जिस तरह से आप केवल राजनीति के माध्यम से इस महिला रिजर्वेशन को लॉलीपॉप बनाते रहे, घुमाते रहे, वही भारतीय जनता पार्टी करे। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी हैं जो कहते हैं कि जिसकी मैं शुरुआत करता हूं उसका अंत भी करता हूं। आर्टिकल 82 पढ़िए, संविधान को जो है पढ़िए। जो संविधान में लिखा हुआ है कि सेंसस होगा, सेंसस के बाद डिलिमिटेशन होगा और डिलिमिटेशन के बाद जो है हम उसको लागू करेंगे, और ये आर्टिकल 82 कह रहा है।
Since 11 a.m. this morning, the Lok Sabha is debating. There is a discussion that's taking place on the Women's Reservation Bill. Rahul Gandhi, Congress Member of Parliament, is expected to speak in just a short while from now. We are expecting Union Home Minister Amit Shah to intervene as well. Pallavi, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Pallavi, 7 hours were allocated for this discussion. Are we expecting it to go beyond that? There are several speakers that are still waiting to speak, we're learning.
Yeah, so but most of the speakers are now being asked to wrap up their time. See, the way the procedure goes is that depending on the strength of the party, that kind of a time is allocated to the speakers. So they are smaller parties or a single member party, they are giving shorter time to speak. But I think more or less the wrapping up is taking place. We are expecting Rahul Gandhi any time now to stand up to speak. And the next big speaker, of course, is going to be the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. And one is presuming after that the wrap up will, of course, come in by the concerned minister, in this case, the Law Minister. And after that, of course, the bill is going to be put to vote. That's when we can expect the Prime Minister to enter the Lok Sabha. So in that sense, today, if everything goes well, the bill is expected to be passed in Lok Sabha, and that's a history being created. And then the time has been allocated to Rajya Sabha tomorrow. In Rajya Sabha also, it should be a cakewalk in terms of sheer numbers, considering most of the political parties have kind of agreed to support the Women Reservation Bill, despite raising the points of order. For example, one, why the delay in implementing it is just a poll stop, and second, of course, is that some like Congress and DMK and JDU are also saying that within the reservation for women, there should be a reservation for OBC as well.
Right, Pallavi, do stay on with me. Arunima will be joining us shortly as well. The Lok Sabha, even as we speak, is currently discussing this bill. It is going to be put to test after that, put to vote after that, when, like Pallavi was pointing out, we are expecting the Prime Minister to be present. It's going to be in the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. But let's listen in to some of those reactions that are now coming in from across the board.
It's not a women's reservation bill. It is a women's reservation rescheduling bill. If and actually when we will actually have 33% of women sitting in the Lok Sabha. Honorable Prime Minister, this is your moment to really show us all कि मोदी है तो मुमकिन है.
ये भाजपा के कार्यकर्ताओं का गौरव है कि इस राष्ट्र में अपने संगठन में पहली बार महिलाओं को आरक्षण देने वाली राजनीतिक पार्टी भारतीय जनता पार्टी बनी. इसीलिए कल जब ये प्रस्ताव सदन में आया तो कुछ लोगों ने कहा हमारा बिल है, कुछ लोगों ने कहा हमने चिट्ठी लिखी. अगर आप इसी गरिमामय संविधान के अनुच्छेद 82 को पढ़ें, upon the completion of each census, allocation of seats in the House of the People to the states and division of each state into territorial constituencies shall be readjusted by such authority and in such manner as Parliament may by law determine, provided also that until the relevant figures for the first census taken after the year 2026 have been published. फिर यह आरोप लगाया गया कि आप ओबीसी और मुस्लिम रिजर्वेशन क्यों नहीं देते, कि संविधान में धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण वर्जित है. जिस प्रकार से विपक्ष भ्रमित करने का प्रयास कर रहा है, उस भ्रम में ना फंसे.
Arunima also joining us here on this broadcast. Now we are going to be seeing the bill come up in Rajya Sabha tomorrow. As we speak, Arunima, it's being discussed in the Lok Sabha. We have some more prominent speakers like Rahul Gandhi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah still expected to speak, after which it is going to be put to vote. It is of course going to be passed because all parties have said that even though they want certain amendments perhaps to be made, or their expectations was that there would be reservations for OBCs that would be included as well. But by and large, most of them are on board, which is why we're going to be seeing this bill pass with perhaps a much higher margin than just majority.
Well, you can just see absolute consensus on this bill, because so far hardly any speaker has stood up and opposed. Yes, all of them have points to make about when the implementation of this bill will happen. There are points to make about why OBCs have not been factored in, so sub-quota within that larger quota. But I have not heard any speaker come out and outrightly reject the provision of giving women a 33% reservation in Parliament. We are expecting, even as I am speaking to you, I am counting down to Rahul Gandhi standing up any moment now and beginning his address. Congress party MPs had said that he will speak around 5:30. I think it's running behind schedule by a few minutes. After that, Home Minister Amit Shah around 6 o'clock, he is expected to speak. And immediately after Amit Shah, Arjun Ram Meghwal, Law Minister who introduced the bill, his rebuttal is expected. So he is expected to respond to all the criticism and points that the opposition has made. Once Arjun Ram Meghwal rebuts, then he will seek the chair's permission and seek the House's consent for passage of the bill. By voice vote is expected to be passed, and it could be historic. The last time this bill got the nod of Rajya Sabha, there was only one vote against this bill. Lok Sabha could improve on that record by voting unanimously in favor of the Women's Reservation Bill. We're expecting similar scenes in Rajya Sabha as well. Yes, points will be made by the House of Elders too about OBCs, sub-quota and about delimitation and census. But you could see history being created when not even one member of Parliament stands up and opposes the bill. We've come a long way from the time when this bill was actually torn in the House and thrown away. It was called a Rajnitik Bhool by Lalu Prasad Yadav. Mulayam Singh Yadav and Sharad Yadav, the famous Yadav trio, had lambasted the government for bringing such a bill. And from then up until now, I think this bill is finally finding its tryst with destiny.
And in a few hours from now, that historic moment perhaps is going to be upon us. The proceedings still continue in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Pallavi and Arunima, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that. We are, of course, standing by for Rahul Gandhi, who's expected to speak in the Lok Sabha in just a few minutes from now. Before now, we're slipping into a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the Lok Sabha proceedings.
Diplomats from both the sides, and now Canada has also started to advise its citizens to have some caution in particular areas while traveling to India. The latest advisory that has been updated just 2 days ago has been, for India, says that the people in Canada who are traveling to India should avoid all travel to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir due to the unpredictable security situation. There is a threat of terrorism, militancy, civil unrest and kidnapping. This advisory excludes travelling to or within the Union Territory of Ladakh, and Canada has stated the advisory for India, marking it an exercise, a high degree of caution. That caution has clearly come in the wake of allegation that Justin Trudeau has made based on certain evidences that he has only with him. He has not shared with his parliamentarian colleagues or with opposition leaders in Canada or with any of the member countries of G7 or Five Eyes with whom he has been expecting some kind of support. In fact, there has been reports that says that USA has expressed its reluctance to be siding with Canada on the issue of Canadian government's uproar on alleged role of Indian agency on the killing of that Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. Justin Trudeau has also not got enough support from Australia, US, UK or France. Australia, US and UK, they have expressed their official statement, they're expressing their deep concern over the issue, and they have broadly opinionated that the law will take its own course and the law should continue its further investigation. Justin Trudeau is yet to give any solid evidence or substantiate what allegation he has put against India, charging Indian agencies' role. And meanwhile, we have seen multiple groups in Canada. They have expressed their opinion on the issue. Canadian opposition leaders are asking for more evidences. There are pro MPs from Liberal Party of Justin Trudeau's party. They have expressed that okay, the law will take its own course and they would like investigation to further go and reveal facts. But what facts, what evidence Justin Trudeau has with him on which he has raised this issue at such a high diplomatic level, that remains a mystery. We have it is unprecedented that Canadian government has expelled a senior Indian diplomat who was chief or of RNW in Canada, stationed in Canada, reciprocating the same. Indian side has also expelled a senior diplomat from Canada, and this has further nosedived the already downsliding bilateral relationship. Just a week ago, Canadian government has also put a pause on the free trade agreement that India and Canada have been negotiating. So probably Justin Trudeau already had in mind what he was going to announce a week later, and in that context, he had paused those free trade agreement deal with India. Also, the latest travel advisory that has been announced by the Canadian side, they have been continuously asking Canadian citizens to avoid going to places where the militancy could be a problem, security issues could be a problem. Canadian Prime Minister has also said that India needs to take this matter with the utmost seriousness, and we are doing that. We are not looking to provoke or escalate. So in a way, he was trying to bring down his anger with India when he was saying that he is not trying to provoke India, just that he wants to have an investigation and cooperation from the Indian side. India has already turned the allegation as
yesterday I was listening to the discussion, and the issue of the Sengol came up, and there was a conversation, a to and fro about the Sengol, and also a little bit about the conversation about the transfer of power from the British to the people of India. before handing over power to the people of India, the British asked the leadership of the freedom movement, who are we going to transfer power to? And of course, there was a little bit of arrogance in this statement because they viewed India as a poor country. And the revolutionary answer that our freedom fighters gave was, we are going to transfer power to the people of India. So we became a country that from its inception gave the vote to all our women. And this was a revolutionary thing at the time. We also gave the vote to every single community. And the vote was a mechanism of transfer of power. It was designed to further transfer power to the people of India. And if you look at the journey from independence, it's been that journey. It's been a constant transfer of power, more and more and more power to the people of India, on one side. And on the other side, the counter idea that take away power from the people of India. This is the fight that is going on. And in fact, in many ways, it is the fight that is taking place today. Huge step forward in the transfer of power to the women of India was Panchayati Raj, where they were given reservation and they were allowed to enter the political system at scale. And this is another step. It's a big step. It is not a small step. And I'm sure everybody in this room, the treasury benches, the opposition, everybody agrees that this is a very important step for the women of our country. They fought for independence. They are as capable as any man, in many ways more capable, and should be given as much space as they possibly can be given. There is one thing, in my view, that makes this bill incomplete. I would like to have seen OBC reservation included in this bill. I think it is very important that a large chunk of India's population, large chunk of India's women should have access to this reservation. And that is missing in this bill. There are also two things that seem strange to me. One is the idea that you require a new census to implement this bill. And the second is that you require a new delimitation to implement this bill. In my view, it is quite simple. This bill can be implemented today by giving 33% of the seats in the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha to India's women. And so I wonder if this is not designed to push the ball forward. To push the ball forward 7, 8, 9 years, and then let this thing play out the way it does. I know my friends tend to like to take the attention of people away from other issues. You know, there is of course the Adani issue, which is they always want to take the attention away. But there is another I would like to say that. One of the things that, this is quite a nice building. Nice peacocks. Nice peacock feathers on the ground. Nice peacock feathers in the chair. It's a nice, tasteful building. But frankly, I would have liked to see the President of India in this process. The President of India is a woman. She represents the tribal community, and it would have been befitting to have her visible in this transfer from one house to the other. So, one of the things that the government likes to distract from, of course, is Mr. Adani. And there is another thing that the government likes to distract everybody from. And that thing is called the caste census. For some reason, and I don't quite understand what this reason is, the moment the opposition raises the issue of caste census, the BJP tries to create a new distraction, a new sudden, event, so that the OBC community and the people of India look the other way. In my research for this speech, I took a look at the different institutions that define how our country moves forward. There are many. There is the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Vidhan Sabhas. There is the bureaucracy. There is the press. And there's the judiciary. And I looked with an eye to understand what is the participation of the OBC community in these institutions. मतलब हमारे जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनमें ओबीसी की भागीदारी कितनी है, ये सवाल मैं पूछ रहा था और मैंने अलग अलग इंस्टीट्यूशंस में थोड़ा रिसर्च किया. जो सेंट्रल the central, don't worry, don't be scared, we are discussing, डरो मत, हम कास्ट सेंसस की बात कर रहे हैं, डरो मत. तो मैंने, I checked, simple thing I did, I said, look, what is the most important set of people in the government of India? The people who define how this country is governed. Of course, Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha, but beyond that, they are the 90 secretaries of the government of India. 90 people, secretaries, are responsible for managing the core of the government of India. And I asked myself the question, how many of the 90 people come from the OBC community? And I was shocked and shattered by the answer. मैंने ये सवाल पूछा कि ये जो 70 सेक्रेटरी हैं, 90 सेक्रेटरी हैं, ये जो हिंदुस्तान की सरकार को चलाते हैं, जो बजट को चलाते हैं, इनमें से ओबीसी कितने हैं? नरेंद्र मोदी जी प्रधानमंत्री हैं, ओबीसी के लिए काम करते हैं. मैंने ये सवाल पूछा. मैं आपको जवाब देना चाहता हूं, हिंदुस्तान के सेक्रेटरीज 90 में से सिर्फ 3 ओबीसी से हैं. और सुनिए, और सुनिए, नहीं घबराइए मत, डरो मत, और सुनिए, ये जो सेक्रेटरीज हैं जो ओबीसी कम्युनिटी से हैं, ये हिंदुस्तान के सिर्फ 5% बजट को कंट्रोल करते हैं। मतलब अगर हिंदुस्तान का बजट 44 लाख करोड़ का है तो ये 2.47 लाख करोड़ मतलब 5% कंट्रोल करते हैं। और सुनिए, मैं कर रहा हूं, मैं वहीं आ रहा हूं। मतलब ये जो है ये
ओबीसी की बात नहीं सुनना चाहते, ओबीसी की बात नहीं सुनना चाहते, ओबीसी की बात नहीं सुनना चाहते, ओबीसी की बात नहीं सुनना चाहते। आप ओबीसी के खिलाफ है, आप ओबीसी के खिलाफ है, ओबीसी के खिलाफ है, आप ओबीसी के अधिकार के बारे में नहीं सुनना चाहते, ओबीसी के बारे में नहीं सुनना चाहते, ओबीसी के प्रति न्याय नहीं चाहते, ओबीसी के प्रति न्याय नहीं होना चाहिए। ये सी दे आर नॉट शोइंग इट ऑन टीवी। ये जो है, हाँ,
मैं माननीय सदस्यों से आग्रह करूंगा, एक मिनट रुकिए। माननीय सदस्य से मैं आग्रह करूंगा, एक तो ये महिला आरक्षण बिल है और दूसरा सभी माननीय सदस्य समान है। डरो मतो ये शब्द इस पार्लियामेंट में नहीं बोलना चाहिए।
सर, ये जो डिस्कशन है, सर, स्पीकर सर, this discussion, Speaker sir, this discussion is about the transfer of power to the people of India. The women being one group of the people of India and the OBC community being another group of the people of India. And I am elaborating that the OBCs, who number a huge percentage, have 3% of the 90 secretaries of this country and control and define 5% of India's budget. This is an insult and a shame to the OBC community. ये OBC community का अपमान है। तो सवाल उठता है कि इस देश में कितने ओबीसी हैं, कितने दलित हैं, कितने आदिवासी हैं, और उस सवाल का जवाब सिर्फ कास्ट सेंसस से मिल सकता है। तो मेरा सरकार को एक सुझाव है, सबसे पहले ये जो महिला का बिल है इसको आप पास कीजिए, आज पास कीजिए, ये जो आपके लागू कीजिए, और ये जो डिलिमिटेशन है जो आपने बोला है, और ये जो सेंसस है इसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं है, 33% आप महिलाओं को सीधा दे दीजिए। और दूसरी बात इसको बदलिए, इसको आप बदलिए।
कैमरा नहीं है सर, कैमरा नहीं है, आपको ही दिखाएंगे सर, पूरा भाषण में आपको ही दिखाएंगे।
ये आप बदलिए। ये जो लिस्ट है ये ओबीसी समाज का अपमान है। 90 लोग हिंदुस्तान के सेक्रेटरी हैं, उनमें से 3 लोग ओबीसी समाज के हैं, 5% बजट को कंट्रोल करते हैं। तो जल्दी से जल्दी आप कास्ट सेंसस कीजिए, जल्दी से जल्दी जो हमने कास्ट सेंसस किया था उसका डेटा आप रिलीज कीजिए, और अगर आप नहीं करेंगे तो हम कर डालेंगे। थैंक यू।
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी,
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, सबसे पहले मैं आपका धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि एक युग बदलने वाले विधेयक पर बोलने के लिए आपने मुझे अनुमति दी है। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, संविधान को संशोधित करने वाले 128वें संविधान संशोधन के समर्थन में बात करने के लिए मैं यहां खड़ा हुआ हूं। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
जिसको जाना है
डरिए मत, डरिए मत। अरे भाई डरो मत।
नो, जिसको जाना है जाने दिया, ऐसे क्यों? प्लीज, कोई भी सदन में रुक सकता है, जा सकता है।
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
प्लीज, नो।
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
माननीय गृह मंत्री जी,
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, कल का दिन भारतीय संसद के इतिहास में स्वर्ण अक्षरों से लिखा जाएगा। कल गणेश चतुर्थी थी, कल संवत्सरी थी, कल नए सदन का पहली बार कार्य का श्री गणेश हुआ और कल ही के दिन वर्षों से जो लंबित था वो महिलाओं को आरक्षण अधिकार देने का बिल इस सदन में पेश हुआ। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, आपके माध्यम से मैं इस सदन के नेता और देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्रीमान नरेंद्र मोदी जी को हृदय से साधुवाद देना चाहता हूं कि 140 करोड़ की आबादी में 50% जिसका हिस्सा है वो मातृशक्ति को सच अर्थ में सम्मानित करने का काम माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, ये जो संविधान संशोधन है, ये संविधान संशोधन जैसे ही दोनों सदन सबके सहयोग से पारित करते हैं, उसके साथ ही देश की लोकसभा और देश के सभी राज्यों की विधानसभाओं में 1/3 स्थान मातृशक्ति के लिए आरक्षित हो जाए। इसलिए ये बिल के अंदर